All right, so welcome to another video. Today I want to go ahead and take a look at Starbucks. We're going to go ahead and do a quick chart analysis on this stock. Also, feel free to check out our Discord channel. Link's going to be in the description below. You can ask questions. I also post some stuff on charts as well in there if you want to get some quick insight. And you can also ask questions in there. And of course, check out the website. There's a lot of live classes, more so on option trading, but it's there as well. Okay, let's check things out on Starbucks here. CEO Howard Schultz, welcome back to a new vision to literally catch up. So he's been putting his foot in his mouth, as they say here, during the first round of global employee listening tours since returning to lead company on Anyway, long story short, they're trying to go ahead and battle off the unionized kind of stuff that's going on and happening. They got a ton of workers there going, and they're trying to unionize. So what they're doing is they're trying to hike wages, a double training for workers, because he's trying to make sure that people don't unionize, which will be more difficult for the company then to fight things off, and really just hire, getting people to work and scheduling things and so on. So that could be a problem for Starbucks. So anyway, with all the workers kind of getting a little more pay raise, that kind of stuff, that could get this union thing off their back a little bit. So the company, if we look at Starbucks here and pull that up, it's popping a little bit today. Overall, the earnings are 0.598 estimate, and they did 0.59. So they're kind of like right in line in that same ballpark figure, but the stock's pushing higher. Just, people feel better about, some of the things they had to say. It's fine. No big deal. But if we go ahead and just look at the chart here, 80 is kind of my sweet spot for this chart, kind of low as at 78. The low here was 78.92. We're still under that a little bit. We did get above that earlier right there. You can see just above that line. But we're struggling a little bit at that zone. Now, this stock's been kind of going down for a little while. So you can see trend wise, we're going down into that lower zone. But I think coming into the $70 price tag, from a fundamental perspective, this seems like a good or better value point. Yes, this stock in the past has had some nasty movements before, but overall, this is a pretty big, significant retracement. So when you will go from about $120 a share, this was your resistance, and now you're pulling back so much. Yes, there is some bearish volume right here, and that's not good, but I doubt this stock will go to zero. They have like land, stores, right? It's not like an application or app, which does have some value. But for example, this company has much more tangible, valuable assets. So I believe it's worth much more than like an application or an app kind of company that's trading on the market, which does have user base and potential for growth, but that's a different story. So anyway, when we look at something like this, and we're looking at some of the technicals, there's some serious support around these price zones, because you can see we've hit those areas where the stock either broke out, rejected, held. This is a big outlier from, let's say, just a lot of emotional things, but obviously did happen. So when you look at it, you still have to look at 50, which you can see psychologically kind of came right in there, right? 50, very psychological support level. I don't think the stock will get down that low anytime soon, maybe, unless if we have a big crash, possibly. But this is multiple standard deviations off, which means it has to really panic dive for that to happen, or the market has to be very bearish for it to kind of continue. So I think it's kind of, you're coming into soon a possible nibbling opportunity into this. It's still not there yet, but it's slowly looking like it's starting to, earnings seem a little more positive. I think it's kind of an early time to maybe start looking at nibbling. But if 75 was the kind of these lows zones here, it's starting to slowly build a little bit of a base. I like seeing bases kind of like this here. We're not seeing that yet. If we start seeing something like that, that would be good, because the bearish volume here in the past is still not great, and we still have that. Now today's kind of a little bit of a positive day with what is that, about 5% pop, so that seems pretty good. But unfortunately, you gapped up, and usually those gaps do technically get filled, and then maybe you'll go a little higher. So 75 is still kind of this support zone that you're trying to watch, and what you're trying to see is somewhat of a rounding pattern on the bottom. That's just psychologically, people feel better about that. They start getting back into it, because what you need is more people to get into the stock. If you get in it now, you need more people to get into the stock after you for you to sell the shares. So will more people later feel good about the stock? Possibly. but it's going to take a little bit of time. So right now, the energy and the sentiment is negative. A lot of people are looking for Fed announcements. We'll see, and this is kind of the spot I would watch. But right now, if you like to be an early bird, 75 might be a lower value, but it doesn't mean it can't go lower. But you're starting to see some light with this little positive of earnings things. But again, the market's still weak. There's a lot of weakness in the space just overall. And if we break down technically in the market space right here, which has been a critical support level here over the last almost 2 years, and we've hit it multiple times. If we continue to pop and break down, then these things could continue much lower, maybe even to 3,500, where this market could sell off in a big nasty way. So be a little more careful here. Although the sell-off is kind of trending in a nice kind of not panicky way, but it is pulling back, and you know, it's not something that you normally want to see if you're a long investor, but at least you're seeing it kind of gradually here, with the exception of a few big massive drops. So be a little careful here in the market space. You know, people are worried a little bit. You've got Fed coming out with the Fed news here soon, and that could be a little bit of an issue as well. That Fed announcement that comes out around 2:30 is kind of the chat. So it's expected to raise rates by 0.5 point, and that could push obviously some of these things again, with depending on what they say, could push this a lot of these stuff lower, including, like, you know, StarBucks. So even though we've popped earlier, so you could see throughout the day popped and then you sell back, you know, people are maybe taking profits, that kind of thing. So be careful, be mindful, watch out. You got a lot of headwinds here with the market overall. The trend is not to the upside yet. You're dealing a lot with choppiness. So if you're nibbling on different stocks, you got to be very careful. Lighter positions, trade them cautiously, and that'll keep you a little bit more out of trouble. So anyway, thank you so much for joining me. Hope you enjoyed the video, and I will see you on the next update episode. Take care.